You know that feeling when you're so sure of your plan, so convinced it's foolproof that you can't imagine anything going wrong? That's where I was. Sitting here now, looking back, I see how naive I was. My mind was a whirlwind of schemes, each one more elaborate than the last. Some were small, harmless even, but others, well, let's just say they spiraled far beyond what I ever intended. Each idea felt like a masterpiece at first, a clever solution to life's problems, but instead of solving anything, they unraveled everything. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about those moments when my best-laid plans turned into disasters. Because sometimes the harder you try to fix things, the worse they get. And maybe, just maybe, sharing this will help me understand why. It all started innocently enough, with good intentions, really. My best friend Claire had been distant for weeks. She avoided calls, canceled plans, and seemed preoccupied whenever we did meet. Instead of asking her directly what was wrong, I decided to take matters into my own hands. After all, I knew her better than anyone. Surely I could figure out the problem myself. So I devised a plan. I'd subtly orchestrate situations where she'd accidentally run into people who might cheer her up or drop hints about self-care until she opened up. What could go wrong? Well, plenty. For starters, my meddling made her feel smothered. Then, when she finally confronted me, I panicked and blurted out assumptions about her life that weren't true. It didn't bring us closer. It drove her further away. All because I thought I knew better. Workplaces are breeding grounds for drama, aren't they? At least, mine certainly was. When rumors spread that our department head was stepping down, everyone scrambled to position themselves as the obvious successor, including me. But rather than simply excelling at my job, I concocted a scheme to undermine my closest competitor. I planted seeds of doubt about his leadership abilities, shared selective information with higher-ups, and even staged a few coincidental mishaps to make him look unreliable. Clever, right? Except nothing went according to plan. The rumors traced back to me, exposing my manipulations. Not only did I lose any chance at the promotion, but I also damaged relationships with coworkers who once respected me. In trying to climb the ladder, I ended up burning bridges, and my reputation along with them. Family dynamics are tricky, especially when you think you're the only one who sees the bigger picture. My brother Jake had always been the rebel, the black sheep of the family. He dropped out of college, moved across the country, and pursued unconventional paths that baffled everyone else. To me, though, his choices weren't just reckless. They were dangerous. Determined to save him, I organized a full-blown intervention. I created charts, gathered testimonials from relatives, and outlined a step-by-step plan for how he could turn his life around. It was supposed to be heartfelt, constructive. Instead, it devolved into chaos. Jake stormed out before I finished speaking, accusing me of overstepping and controlling. Our relationship fractured under the weight of my misguided efforts. Looking back, I realized I wasn't saving him. I was trying to control him. Love makes fools of us all, or at least it did of me. There was a time when I believed I could engineer romance, mold it into exactly what I wanted. When my partner began pulling away emotionally, I panicked. Instead of addressing the issue openly, I resorted to manipulation. I sent carefully timed texts designed to evoke jealousy, arranged chance encounters with mutual friends to gauge his reactions, and even fabricated minor emergencies to test his commitment. It worked for a while. He became more attentive, more affectionate. But eventually the truth came out. He confronted me, hurt and betrayed, and accused me of playing games with his feelings. The irony stung. In trying to secure his love, I pushed him farther away. The allure of social media fame. I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Convinced I could turn my personal brand into an empire, I dove headfirst into the world of influencers and content creators. I spent hours crafting posts, studying algorithms, and networking with industry insiders. But when growth stalled, I grew desperate. I started fabricating stories, exaggerating achievements, staging photo shoots, and even paying for fake followers to inflate my numbers. It worked temporarily, earning me sponsorships and collaborations. But then reality caught up. Someone exposed my tactics online, sparking outrage among followers and brands alike. Overnight, I went from rising star to cautionary tale. My dream of success collapsed under the weight of its own deception. Desperation breeds recklessness. When money got tight, I convinced myself I could gamble my way out of trouble. Investing seemed like the perfect solution: quick returns, minimal risk, or so I thought. I poured every penny I had into stocks, cryptocurrencies, and pyramid schemes promising guaranteed profits. Every setback was met with another scheme: borrowing from friends, taking out loans, doubling down on bad investments. I told myself it was temporary, that the next big win would solve everything. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Instead, I lost everything: my savings, my credit, my dignity. What started as a quest for financial freedom ended in crippling debt and shattered trust. Humiliation has a way of teaching lessons no amount of planning ever could. After one too many scandals, I found myself standing on that stage, forced to apologize publicly for my misdeeds. From botched interventions to sabotaged careers, the damage I'd caused was laid bare for everyone to see. I had rehearsed my speech endlessly, determined to appear without revealing too much. But when the moment came, words failed me. Instead of polished explanations, raw emotion poured out. Tears streamed down my face as I admitted my mistakes, not just to the audience, but to myself. For the first time, I truly understood the impact of my actions. And though forgiveness didn't come easily, that moment marked the beginning of redemption. Looking back, I see patterns in my behavior, patterns of control, desperation, and fear. Each scheme stemmed from a desire to fix something broken, whether it was a relationship, a career, or my own insecurities. But instead of healing wounds, I created new ones. Failure taught me humility, patience, and the importance of authenticity. It showed me that not every problem requires a grand solution. Sometimes, simplicity is enough. These lessons didn't come easily, but they reshaped me in ways success never could. As I walk this beach today, watching the waves erase my footprints, I remind myself that letting go isn't weakness, it's strength. Life doesn't give us do-overs, but it does offer second chances, if we're willing to accept them. Today, I focus on progress, not perfection. I write in this journal not to plan elaborate schemes, but to reflect honestly on my journey. Mistakes still happen, of course, but I handle them differently now, with transparency, accountability, and compassion. That quote on my wall reminds me daily that growth isn't linear. It's messy, unpredictable, and often painful. But it's also beautiful. So here's to moving forward, not with schemes, but with sincerity. Thank you for listening to my story.